It's in the back section. Oh, why don't you cool it, huh? Okay, I don't care. You know, this sounds a little off.
Naturally. Closer to heaven, the more discordant.
Oh, man, why don't you just put me on your back and walk us across the water?
There was a time. Now I'd sink.
Sir, you know that's against the rules?
I'll tell you something. I'm bored with rules. It's funny. The lights aren't moving.
What?
Peculiar, ugly illusion. Motionless, suspended. I run, I get nowhere. Did you know this happens to be the summer solstice? Midsummer's Eve?
Is that good or bad?
It depends. If you're a witch, it's a night for bonfires, incantation.
Sounds like fun. What happened?
She fainted. I think she's sick. She was pale and trembling.
I'll get a cold cloth.
Excuse me, please. I'm a medical doctor, doctor in color.
Ore igne sancti spiritus cassita non cavita spiritum palibeth.
Latin, is it not?
Yes, yes.
Is it serious?
No, merely an hysterical episode of some sort. Perhaps what would help her most is some food. Or am I speaking only of myself?
Oh, my, you're right. We really are running behind. Is it all right that I go?
Yes, of course. I should like the lady's husband present when she returns to consciousness. If you'd be so kind as to look after her.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
She's a beautiful woman, isn't she? Or are you just working on a get-well prayer pole?
I was just thinking I might become a doctor.
Why?
Why not? I can be anything I want now. And they have such a power over women. It's that paternal thing. Except doctors are free to use it. Anya, what's the matter? You don't look well yourself.
I'm just sick from watching you bleed. What happened to me? Oh, what did I do?
Nothing, you just fainted, that's all. There's a doctor on board. He says you're all right. There's nothing serious.
I'm sorry to be such a bloody nuisance.
Not at all. Gives me something else to do besides get drunk. I'm Paul Kovalik.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kovalik. I'm grateful. Has anyone told my husband?
Yes, the doctor went for him. Did you know that you were speaking Latin?
That's impossible. I've never studied Latin. What happened?
The flight engineer has been killed.
It's the flight engineer. He's dead.
What?
Something awful's happened back there. Paul, do you know what she's talking about?
The Droata, Mrs. Pinder.
Of course, the druids.
Believe it or not, here we are in the last half of the 20th century under these circumstances. And what are we worrying about? The grotesque practices of a primitive cult that was stamped out before the coming of Christ.
Not entirely, Mr. Kovalik. There are still druids.
Oh, yes, of course there are. And there are still witches and Satanists. And those who believe that Jimson weed can make them immortal. There's never been any shortage of idiot things to believe in, nor idiots to take them up.
Stop it! What have druids got to do with what's going on here? Everyone on that heath knows the legend.
Midsummer's Eve. Paul, you said that was tonight.
For all I know, it's Halloween. Well, if it's any of your business, I'd like to look at ruins. Preferably religious ruins.
Why don't you just knock it off? Confession is supposed to be good for the soul, isn't it? Paul is a priest!
Was. Very definitely was. They have enough trouble without sticking them with me.
Okay.
I hope that makes you happy. It hasn't me.
What would?
I'm going to open a bottle of it right now. It might not make me happy, but it will amuse me to think of all of you back here worrying about your lives as though they were of some importance. I understand we're stuck up here. You ought to demand your money back.
I wish I could find something funny in all this.
Stick around. Maybe you will.
Are you beyond fear, or you just drunk?
Both. But if I were you, I'd worry more about your fellow passengers than whatever it is you brought on board.
Come on.
Oh.
Sheila?
No!
Sheila, what is it?
You're hearing something, aren't you?
My wife has been hearing voices, but she was treated for nervous exhaustion a few weeks ago.
What do you hear?
I don't know. Voices. They keep calling my name. It stopped.
Do you remember what you said when you fainted? Ore igne sancti spiritus.
Yes, I heard that. One of the voices. What does it mean?
Well, do you know or don't you?
It's from a black mass.
A prayer to the devil?
Or to that thing back there.
My wife is imagining things, that's all.
She's hearing voices.
Yeah.
Paul says she was reciting a black mass.
Sounded like it. I was probably wrong. I was a worse scholar than I was a priest.
You know all about these things. You were a priest, weren't you? What can we do?
You don't want a priest, Mr. Fryler. You want a parachute.
Don't you laugh at me. You lousy drunk. What good are you anyway?
Too holy. My dear Manya, you of all people should know better than that. I heard them down there. Charming bunch of people.
I think that thing only wants me.
They'll believe anything now that offers them the barest hope of survival. And they'll do anything, no matter how stupid or bestial. Homo sapien in all his glory.
Do you really hate yourself that much?
I always wait for that. The defrocked priest, delight of the armchair analyst. Where did you lose your faith? I didn't. It lost me.
I'm frightened. Can you help me?
I'm sorry. I'm fresh out
Aren't you afraid?
of dying. I gave that up along with the rest of my illusions.
I don't understand you. Those are only words.
Words, yes, we talk a lot in the church. It keeps us from asking why we can't have one sign, one tiny, infinitesimal sign to sustain us in the darkness. To touch, to see.
Father.
Don't look to me. I have nothing. I have no help. Find your own way. You hear that, Sheila? There's no problem. You're a tree, a rock. How simple it is. And those feelings you have in your gut. Love, fear, all nothing more than the stirrings of atoms and molecules.
What a pathetic excuse you are for a man. How do you set yourself above anything? You who betrayed your own pitiful faith.
Pitiful, Mrs. Pinder, and what are you selling?
Powers that are old when this universe was young. Powers that you no more can withstand than an ignorant savage.
A fire, Mrs. Pinder, is that it?
No.
The way the ancients held off the demons on Midsummer's Eve? They built a bonfire on the highest hill. We're at 20 or 30,000. That ought to be high enough. And then those poor, ignorant savages would huddle around the light and smoke and pray for the dawn. At the first shaft of sunlight, demons go back to hell, or wherever it is they come from. Yes, a fire. A fire for the burning of witches.
Fire. Will fire work?
Ask her.
You fool. You've given them hope for nothing.
We've got to make a fire. Come on downstairs. You've got to help.
What?
Come on.
Savages.
Yes, frightened savages, waiting to be led. And they will be led into darkness or into light.
Be my guest.
Would that I had that strength of purpose, but I have only words, and they are far beyond that now.
Let me go! Let me go! Let me go! Let me go!
Jody! Jody!
Help me! Help me! Help me!
Stay out of this, pal.
Please.